All right, today we're tackling a massive question, one that really gets to the heart of it all. What is school actually for? We're going to dive into a pretty radical idea called existentialist education, and it suggests that the whole point of school isn't to get you to follow a script, but to teach you how to become the author of your very own life story. So let's figure out what that really means. I mean, have you ever been there? Sitting in a classroom, feeling like you're just a cog in a machine, you're following the rules, you're memorizing facts just long enough for the test, and you're left wondering, what does any of this have to do with my actual life? It's a super common feeling, and it gets right to the core of what we're digging into today. Well, here's the counter-argument, coming from a group of thinkers called the existentialists. They asked, hey, what if school wasn't about trying to make you fit into a box? What if it was all about helping you figure out who you are and how you want to live? You know, what if it was designed to help you face all the big, messy questions of life head on? So this sets up this really fundamental tension that existentialist education tries to solve. It's that gap between the highly structured system of school and the messy, totally unpredictable reality of your own life. This is where the goal just completely shifts. It's not about creating a good student or a future employee. Nope. The main goal here is to equip you to live a life that is genuinely your own, a life filled with meaning that you get to define through the choices that you make. Okay, let's really get into this. Because to understand this whole approach to education, you've got to grasp the powerful philosophy that's behind it. And it all starts with one huge idea, that you are fundamentally, radically free. This right here is the cornerstone of the whole thing, famously argued by the philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre. Now, existence precedes essence sounds super academic, right? But think of it like this. A knife is designed with a purpose. Its essence is to cut. For humans, Sartre said it's the other way around. You're born. You exist first. There's no pre-written script, no destiny. Your purpose, your essence, is something you create moment by moment through your actions. This quote just nails it. It's not about what you think you are or what you plan to do or what your potential might be. Your identity is literally forged in the fire of your actual choices and actions. You become the sum of what you do. And this idea is a real double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's incredible. You have this radical freedom to create yourself from scratch. But the other side of that coin is that you carry the total weight of responsibility for it. You can't blame your parents or society or your genes. Who you become, that's on you. And yeah, that's a heavy thought. Sartre used this really dramatic phrase to capture that exact feeling. It's a condemnation, because you can't escape it. You can't just opt out of being free. Even refusing to choose is itself a choice. Freedom isn't some gift you can return. It's a fundamental part of being human. So with this freedom, you can't escape. You're always facing a choice. On one side, you've got authenticity. This is when you embrace your freedom, you take responsibility, and you live a life that's true to the values you've chosen. On the other side, you have what Sartre called bad faith. And this is the great escape hatch. It's pretending you have no choice. It's saying things like, I'm just doing my job, or the system made me do it. It's basically hiding from your own freedom. Okay, so that's the big, heady philosophy. But how in the world does this radical, sometimes kind of scary idea of freedom actually translate into a school classroom? What does it even look like in practice? And just to be super clear, we're not talking about small, superficial freedoms here, like picking where you want to sit. This goes way, way deeper. It's a fundamental shift in perspective. Education becomes the process of learning how to write your own story, rather than just memorizing one that someone else already wrote for you. We can actually break this down into 4 concrete pillars. First, there's freedom of choice, letting students pick their topics and projects. Second, freedom to question. You're actually encouraged to challenge the rules, the textbooks, even authority. Third is freedom of inner life, making real space to explore your own beliefs, values, and emotions. And finally, and this is the big one, it's freedom plus responsibility. You're free to choose, but you also have to own the consequences of those choices. So let's paint a picture. What would this actually look like on a Tuesday morning? If you walked into a school that was designed around these principles, what would you even see? Well, the curriculum itself would look totally different. Instead of some rigid, one-size-fits-all syllabus, there'd be all this flexibility. Students might get to choose which novel to study to explore a theme like justice. The focus would shift to those big, timeless human questions, love, injustice, meaning. An assessment? It wouldn't just be a multiple-choice test. It would let you show what you've learned in all kinds of creative ways, through debate or art or a big hands-on project. The teaching methods would also change, a lot. The classroom would be full of dialogue, not just lectures. The teacher would be asking all these probing questions to help students clarify their own thinking. Journaling would be a common thing, creating that space for reflection. And the learning would be active, driven by student-led projects, and taking a really critical look at the world around them.
And the teacher's role? It's completely transformed. They are no longer just the person who dispenses information. They become a guide, a facilitator. They're an authentic person in the room, modeling their own struggles and passions. They're there to challenge students, to make them confront their choices. And maybe most importantly, they create a safe space where all of this difficult personal exploration can actually happen.
Now, all of this probably sounds incredibly empowering, right? But it's not without its critics and its challenges. And like any bold idea, it's really important to look at both sides of the coin. So on the plus side, this approach can create this really deep internal motivation because students connect learning to their actual lives. It helps them build a stronger sense of who they are. It creates critical thinkers, not just rule followers. But the criticisms are pretty significant. Is it too focused on the individual at the expense of the community? How could this possibly work in a system that's built around standardized tests? And hey, maybe this is all a bit overwhelming for young kids, or could it lead to a world where anything goes? These are tough questions, and there are no easy answers.
But regardless of all the practical challenges, the central message of existentialist education offers this profound challenge to our standard way of doing things. It suggests we completely rethink the entire purpose of school. Maybe the point isn't to just fill empty buckets with facts. Maybe it's to light a fire, to empower each person with the tools they need to build a meaningful life for themselves.
So we'll end by turning the question right back to you. If you were truly free to design your own learning, to chase the questions that genuinely matter to you, and to become the author of your own educational journey, what story would you choose to write? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.